right, with that down, we are going to jump into our second main topic today. And our second main topic today is this. So, John Krasinski was Reed Richards for a day. For one whole day of our lives, John Krasinski was Reed Richards. Now, as any of you that know me know, there's very few things that I love on the planet as much as I love The Office. I love The Office so much. I watch it daily. I have for years. And of course, you know, John Krasinski plays a big role on The Office, and this is how we all know John Krasinski. And then, of course, he directed his directorial debut of A Quiet Place, which was amazing. And then even what I think is the even more superior Quiet Place 2 that he directed. And then, and so then he got this little, you know, gig playing Reed Richards, right? And we're like, oh my God, it happened because we kind of fan casted this ourselves, right? The fans really wanted this. And then we found out that Kevin Feige kind of, you know, heard the murmurs of the fans and thought, this is kind of be funny. And that they never really kind of intended to use John Krasinski moving forward as our Reed Richards. To further that, we have this article coming to us from The Wrap where John Krasinski just was on set finishing up shooting, what's it called that he does? Jack Ryan. And he did in an interview, he was asked about, you know, had there been any more discussions about him coming back to play Reed? And he said this, quote, "There aren't any discussions at all. The only discussion I had was actually in the second to last week of Jack Ryan," Krasinski said. "Kevin Feige called and said, 'Would you ever fly to LA and play in our sandbox for a day?' I was honored to do it. I flew right from Budapest when we wrapped and went right to the Doctor Strange set. I'm a big fan of all those characters and that world. So to get to play in that sandbox for one day was a real thrill." This is really interesting. So it really literally was a day that he was on set, right? So let's read a little bit more of this. Krasinski played a version of Reed Richards from an alternate universe in the Sam Raimi directed sequel, offering Marvel Studios the opportunity to recast the role in future Fantastic Four film, especially considering Krasinski's Richards was viciously murdered on screen. Krasinski says, quote, "It's totally insane to be in a room with all those people, and again, to be a part of that narrative is crazy," he added. "But yeah, being turned into spaghetti wasn't my end goal in life as far as how it goes in the Marvel universe, but, you know, it was fun nonetheless." This is really interesting, and this is really cool. Again, this is a guy who was super out of place in that room, as he should have felt, because he was standing next to, you know, Patrick Stewart and stuff. But hey, Krasinski, you've come a long way, man, and you deserve it, brother. So you deserve to be in that room, and don't you ever say anything other than that, man. You're a great actor, you're a great performer, man. And you're an even better human being, and we're all lucky to have you. So that being said, what I want to talk about is this idea that it sounds like, as I kind of told you, you know, months ago, Trevor, when this all happened, that we may not get John Krasinski as Reed Richards. And that may have kind of just been this fun little, here you go, fans, at least it exists. You know that in some world, somewhere, what you guys want exists, but that's not what we're going to do. And it seems like that's what's being said. I mean, something we're not talking about today, but it seems that Fantastic Four has actually kind of began production as of this week. And if that's the case, then obviously Krasinski is not playing Reed Richards, right? This is interesting. Like I said, to say the least, I know a lot of people out there not only just love John Krasinski, but really wanted it again, that we fan casted it. But then once they got it, they were like, this is it. I don't want to see any other version of Reed Richards unless I'm seeing more of this John Krasinski version. So I understand that it's going to be hard and difficult for a lot of people to accept something, especially so quickly, right? Because Fantastic Four is destined to come out in 2024, which is just around the corner, and Doctor Strange will only be a couple years old at the time. So 2 years ago, we would have had a different Reed Richards than the one we're going to get in this movie, which could sometimes be confusing. But I trust Marvel, and Feige we trust. And it's too bad. There was always two that we fan casted that Emily Blunt would play the Invisible Woman side by side with him, which would be just perfect. But yeah, I have faith in what we'll get is good. But this is interesting news. Trevor, you're hearing this news. John Krasinski saying, hey, listen, outside of that one time Feige called me and said, would you come here for a day? And I went there for a day. Outside of that, there has been no discussion of me playing Reed Richards again in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, first and foremost, I'll say about any of the casting news, if you come out and you give me a really good cast, a really good actor to play the character, any of the gripes that I'm about to mention will be gone, you know? I have other people that I maybe necessarily wouldn't mind seeing, but now I will get into the gripes because easily my number one pick, since I've ever even thought about it, was John Krasinski. Like, John Krasinski and Emily Blunt were made for this role. You know, it was like, I mean, that is like a dream casting that you just don't get. It's like Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. You know, it's Thor as Chris Hemsworth. People, I mean, just born to play that.
Thor as Chris Hemsworth.
Exactly.
We've cast Thor to play Chris Hemsworth.
Well, yeah.
That's who else would you cast?
There's a once in a lifetime sort of thing where they maybe exist at the same plane. But yeah, there's, just what's it, and that's one of them, man, where it's like not only do you have each one of these specifically would be perfect for that role, but then they also have a built-in chemistry that we've seen on screen and has been marketable too. So honestly, and I mean, I get why they would maybe be like, oh yeah, let's do this fun little thing. But there have been some decisions recently about that Disney has made that have been like, man, I can maybe understand the intention behind what you just did, but the execution is sloppy. I mean, I don't think this is a good idea. Like, if you're going to, and I'm not the only one that felt that way in any way, shape, or form about Krasinski and Blunt as the Fantastic Four, or, and I think that honestly, I really love WandaVision, but what it reminds me of is when they brought in Quicksilver, and it was so cool at the moment, but then they just turned it into literally a penis joke, and and I was like, man, I don't know, I mean, there's a lot of ways you could have done that were more satisfying. If you're gonna recast him or whatever, don't tempt the belovedness of fans. Don't do that, because you can't get our excitement up that much for something and then just, because, I mean, it would be it's very similar circumstance here. I mean, they know how ravenously we want John Krasinski and Emily Blunt to be this. Now, maybe there's behind the scenes things. It sounds like he'd do it, to be honest, from the if they had the right thing on the table, he'd do it. So you're going to tell me that you have this casting choice on the table that everyone loves that would be dope, and you're not going to do it? You're not even going to try? You're not even going to try and figure it out with him? And I mean, again, I'll say what I said at the beginning. If at the end of this thing, they cast Glenn Howerton and he comes out and he slays it, whatever. All gripes fixed.
Yeah, winning cures all thing, right?
But I don't, and honestly, I normally, you asked me about a year and a half ago, I would always say in Feige we trust, but there's been enough things at this point, I don't know if they're Feige's fault or whatever, but they're still happening in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that have kind of made me well, I'm not just going to trust it on faith anymore.
Well, we'll have to wait and see now that Chapek is out and Bob Iger's back. We'll give it some time, and if there's a difference, then we'll understand that he had a foot on his throat the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
And if there's not a difference, then we'll understand the other thing that's possible is he's just overloaded.
Yeah.
There's just too much going on for him to do it. But
Exactly.
I think it's kind of a combination of the both.
Right.
But I think getting that foot off your throat will probably help a ton.
I think so. And I mean, again, it's I'll repeat it one more time. Winning heals all the wounds. If you throats off the neck, he just always had a person that he knew would be perfect for this. The dude has done so many miracles, and he's done so many strange who would have ever guessed that Andy from Parks and Rec could be Peter Quill? Who would have ever made that connection? And he brought him out, and he not only was Chris Pratt perfect for the role, but he showed that Chris Pratt was this little diamond in the freaking rough, and he saw that.
That was actually what is the chick that runs Sony for years?
I'm not sure.
Amy something?
Oh.
I can't remember her name. Let me look it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was actually her. Because originally, what's his name that directs Guardians of the Galaxy?
James Gunn.
James Gunn. Originally, James Gunn had, what's his name that plays Shazam? Zachary Levi.
Okay.
Originally, he had cast Zachary Levi to play.
Interesting. Wouldn't be a bad
and then, God, I can't remember her name. But the lady from, let me look it up. Amy Pascal. That's her name.
Okay.
Amy Pascal. James Gunn tells her, hey, this is who they're like friends or whatever. And Amy Pascal's like, look, dude, like Zachary Levi's great.
Right.
I love Zachary Levi. But I'm telling you now, I know the dude. I know the dude that's meant to play this role. And James Gunn's like, well, I kind of already told Zachary Levi. I mean, I kind of led him to believe that, he's at the top of and she's like, dude, I understand, but just sit down with this dude for just an hour and just have a conversation with him.
Right.
And he's like, okay, who is it? And she's like, it's Chris Pratt. And he's like, the dude from Parks and Rec? And she's like, trust me. Just trust me. And James Gunn sat down with him for an hour. And after the hour, James Gunn was like, yeah, this dude's Star-Lord, no doubt about it.
Can you get ripped? That's all I need to know. He's like, I can get ripped. You send me the right ingredients.
The money. You send me the right money.
Right.
I hire the right people.
Trust me, I want to get ripped. I just don't know how.
For sure.
But yeah. Is he studying?
But you guys are hearing this information. Again, it seems John Krasinski is not going to play Reed Richards moving forward. We can kind of chalk that up and accept it, at least not in our universe and 616 MCU canon, right? Maybe we do some point later on see another world, and where he plays, who knows? But as of now, it seems like that's not what we're going to get. So what do you guys think of all this? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, please.